Now, the moment you say this, let me accept and let go, let go. Let the person be the way he or she is, because it is their karma, their life. I must not be entangled with their actions or their behavior. Because the fact of the matter is, you cannot change anybody. You can only pray, sometimes guide, but cannot force them to do things the way you want them to do. You talked about frequencies, you asked about frequencies. And the truth of the matter is, in this life, we don't get what we want. We only attract what our frequency vibration is. Please understand this carefully. You might be wanting 10,000 things in life, but you struggle for that, you don't get it. Even peace, happiness, joy. Because what you attract from this vast cosmos is what your inner frequency vibration is, and not what your want is. This cosmos, this existence, does not understand the language of your want, your desire. It understands the language of your vibration, your frequency. It's like in this atmosphere, there are a lot of, right now, there are a lot of, let's say you are a transistor. There are all kinds of channels on the radio, of news, of music, of meditation, of stories, of all kinds of things, of poetry. But your channel, your radio will only, your transistor will only get that particular channel, be it of news or of songs or of poetry, where you set your frequency. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So this cosmos respond to your vibration, to your frequency, and not what you want. So yes, so that's one. Number two, you ask, how do you increase your frequency? Because most of the time, we find ourselves living with lower frequencies. Let's say the lower frequency of fear, of jealousy, of insecurity, of frustration, of hate. These are lower frequencies. What these lower frequencies do, number one, each one of this thought / lower frequency, it starts to interfere with your metabolic system also. It starts to create holes in your immunity system. It starts to weaken your body-mind capacity. A lot of disease starts to get entry into your system. That's what these lower frequencies will do. Apart from the fact that they'll constantly keep you unhappy, non-satisfied in life. Because you are constantly operating at these frequencies of, let's say, the lower frequencies, that's what universe responds back. Because you attract what you are. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you are operating at lower frequencies, that's exactly what you will attract more. The second part is then how do you change your frequency setup? How do you enter into the higher frequency zone? Very critical. Look at it carefully. Number one, what is the content of your thoughts most of the time? Because it is easy to change the content of your thought once you know the content of your thought. And that's where meditation comes into the practice. When you sit in your dhyana, your meditation, you're observing the content of your thoughts, which is your frequency. And then you start to interject it, intercept a thought of a higher frequency. To give you a practical example, let's say you are angry with person A because of ABC. Now you're sitting quietly, and the thought that you're angry with this person because of certain reasons, these thoughts are playing in your mind. You are observing this content of the thought, and then suddenly you make a shift and you say, every human being makes a mistake. Even I am not perfect. Everybody is unique. Let me accept and let go. Now, the moment you say this, let me accept and let go. Let go. Let the person be the way he or she is, because it is their karma, their life. I must not be entangled with their actions or their behavior. Because the fact of the matter is, you cannot change anybody. You can only pray, sometimes guide, but cannot force them to do things the way you want them to do. So you accept their behavior and you let go of what? You let go of your expectation of them to behave in a certain way. You let go of that. Now, in that instant, when you've intercepted this thought in your mind, you've suddenly started raising your frequency from frustration and anger to acceptance of the uniqueness of this individual and letting go of your expectation out of this individual. Suddenly your frequency is shifting. Now, the more you do this, you will start to enter into higher frequency zones. What are these zones? Where you will not just stay at the acceptance of their ways and let go of your expectations. You will also in time take a step forward, where you will start to learn to love them without any conditions. Slowly, the zone of I, that I am this, will start to expand. And they who are right now separate from this zone will also start to come in your zone as part of your being. With that, you now intercept another thought of gratitude. Not just complaining of what you do not have, but appreciating and paying gratitude to existence for all that you have been given, all that. And you make that as a practice. You're slowly increasing your frequency. You do this as a practice. And you don't do it mechanically, you do it very genuine as a practice. 3 things you start to observe then. I've said that before, I'm repeating because we need to know this. You start to observe the content of your thought and intercept new thoughts of higher frequencies. You do it slowly. Then you also increase your frequency through your speech. Earlier, if your speech was very hurtful, frustrating, complaining, you observe this speech, and one by one, you just see, the beauty is the moment you identify that, oh, I've said something which is, the tone is complaint, the tone is frustration, the tone is anger. The moment you observe this, the beauty is in the observation of this. It's like in the Buddhist text, they give a beautiful example of this. It's like holding a burning coal in your hand. When you observe it's a burning coal of frustration, anger, complaint, jealousy, you can't hold it in your hand any longer. It's burning you. But only when you observe and feel the sensation of that burning coal. Similarly, this frustration, this way of complaining, don't make it normal. Do not make it normal. Because when you make it normal, you stop sensing the pain of it. While the system is receiving the pain of complaint, but your active mind stop experiencing that pain as pain. It takes it as way of life. You understand what I'm saying? And you normalize this disease of complaining. You normalize that. So when you observe it, I said about thought, and then I said about words, which is your speech. So slowly you see that in sadhana, your speech starts to get very purified. From complaint, you make a big shift towards gratitude. From expectation, you make a big shift towards acceptance. So on and so forth. So that's level 2. And then level 3 at the action, which is behavior level. Now you also observe your behavior, your actions, things that you do. And slowly after observing, there also you start to increase your frequency of doing things. Now there's a dance, there's a rhythm in everything, every action that you perform. Earlier, every action you were performing very mechanically. Now there's a beauty, there's joy, there's poetry to every stance that your body makes. Even when you move your hand like that, it's like a rhythm, it's like a song or a poetry or a dance. Now your behavior, because your edges are getting smoothened, you no more have sharp edges. Now you're becoming very smooth. All your actions become very smooth. They operate from the space of eternal ease. But if you carefully observe, your thought, your words, your action, and working with this to change your frequency to higher levels is all internal work. Thoughts internal, speech internal, action originate from internal space. But is it all internal? Can I take support from the external world? Yes, you can take support from the external world also to change, to shift your frequency. What can you do now from the external support mechanics? Well, number one, this time, this yuga, all of you are consuming lot of content through various ways. Look carefully. Change the format of the content or the quality of the content. Now start to consume content which is of higher frequency. What does it mean practically? Now you do not watch cinema or TV shows which are very violent, horror driven kind. No, you don't watch that because that's a lower frequency content that you're consuming. You do not watch nonsensical books anymore. You stop your consumption of news a lot because most of the news channels are broadcasting low frequency data, low frequency content. Slowly, you start to replace all the content consumption to the content category which I call high frequency content. You listen to some nice music, you listen to some mantra chanting, so on and so forth. Now, so that's at the content level. Similarly, the people around you. There are a lot of people around you which are operating at low frequency. You go out, you choose friends, your Sangha, and that's why we put so much of importance on Sangha. Please go out. In your Sangha, if there's only one person, but one person who's operating at the divine frequency, highest frequency of love, divinity, make that person as your closest friend. So your Sangha, slowly you're changing and upgrading the frequency level in your Sangha, in your relationships also. These are all the things that you can do it from the external point of view also. Because this work of raising your frequency to higher levels, positive zones, it's just not internal. Because we're very outward driven people. So we need to make some changes in our outer space also. And last bit on it, I must share with you. I go to some people's homes sometimes and the homes are very cluttered. A lot of stuff in the home. No space there in the home. And all the stuff is very cluttered. It's all over the place. This too creates very low frequency zone. You empty the space out. You organize your workstation. You organize your home. Everything is well kept. That organized space outside creates organized thought process inside. Higher frequency zone. Each of these little things help you shift your frequency. And remember what I said in the beginning. You don't attract what you want. You attract what your frequency is. So through all these mediums, we are slowly raising our frequencies. And then we raise it to such a way that even Shiva gets attracted to our frequency. All we are trying to do in sadhana is to raise our vibration to such a level that Shiva also gets attracted to this vibration, this frequency that we are able to create. That's all we are trying to do in sadhana. Yes, hope it makes sense. And I think last bit in your question you asked, how to be thoughtless when working. Who said you need to be thoughtless when you're working? When you're working, you need thoughts. You need to ride on the thoughts to do what you want to do. Thoughts are not bad. Uncontrolled thought is a problem. Chatter is a problem. Thoughts are not a problem. Yeah, uncontrolled thoughts is a problem. So when you're working, that chatter, uncontrolled thought is what makes you not present. When you're working, you need to be very present. How do you become very present? One formula, just simple formula. You sharpen your attention. And that's how you increase your presence. And that's how you subside the chatter. Right now, we are listening to this Satsang. Be very attentive. Be fully present here in this very moment. And if you do that, you will experience the zones where there will not be excessive chatter or overthinking in the mind. There will be very few thoughts which are relevant to this space right now. And then if you go much deeper, you may experience states of thoughtlessness even in this satsang right now. But don't try to get into the state of thoughtlessness right now, in the beginning. The formula is increase your presence by pouring all your attentiveness to the task that you're doing, to where you are. Bring all your presence and attention there, right? And then you see there'll be beauty and joy to the work that you do. It's not that we don't love our work. We don't love anything where we are not present fully, because we're not attentive to that. You become attentive to that, you make your presence more in that what you're doing, and you will start to see, you will enjoy that work much more. It's not about the kind of work, it's about the kind of presence and attention that you bring to the work. That changed the whole dynamic of it. It's like changing the gestalt of the whole situation. So focus must be on focus. And attention must be on increasing the presence wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And that will change the game. Hope it helps. Thank you.